What is up, y'all, man? It is your boy Dylan Dilworth, and I'm back again, man. I'm back with another movie review, man, and I really enjoy doing these. I did the mid-90s review as its own little separate upload, as a little thing on the side, and, I really enjoyed it. And, I saw another film, so, why not? And, what I'm saying, it's something that on the side, outside of the normal podcast discussions that I like doing, so I might keep doing these, what I'm saying, because, everything is just for fun. Right now, and I'm talking kind of fast, man. I'm hella excited, but yeah, right now, man, I am getting ready to review the film Beautiful Boy. So without further ado, let's get right into it, bro. Let's go. All right, so Beautiful Boy, it is a biographical film based off of David and Nick Sheff. And the film is based on David's memoir, Beautiful Boy, A Father's Journey Through His Son's Addiction. And it's also based on Nick's memoir, Tweak, Growing Up on Methamphetamine. So basically, David Sheff's The Beautiful Boy novel or memoir, is David's point of view of what was happening and going on during his son's addiction, and Nick Sheff's book was basically what he was going, his thoughts and point of view of the stuff that was happening at the time. So they took both books, they meshed them into this movie. So yeah, with Beautiful Boy, Timothée Chalamet, he is coming off of the success of Call Me By Your Name. He was nominated for Best Actor. He didn't win, but he was nominated. So, he's definitely coming off of an Oscar nominated performance. And the film is really like a memoir. You're going through the story while having flashbacks. You're seeing the situation now and then how it used to be back in the day. So I'm gonna go ahead and jump into some of the positives that I had watching this movie. So the story is really effective. I like the way how they had the flashbacks in the memoir, because through what he's going through now, and then you have the flashbacks, you really see Nick as a kid who really loves rock music, who really loves drawing and really loves surfing, and just being dragged away from those things as he's struggling with addiction, and how the addiction grows stronger throughout the years. So that was a real big positive for me. Another positive thing for me was definitely the acting, man. Timothy and Steve Carell, they have chemistry. They have some real chemistry, and it shows. So they really played off of each other. They really get you drawn in to the scene. They do an amazing job, and their performances are really what took this movie from great to amazing. That's how well of a job they did in this film. And Timothy, he does, one thing I learned from watching his performances is that the way he really draws you in is with the subtle things that you don't really notice or pay attention to. So the scene where he's fighting addiction and he's talking to Steve Carell, it's of course there's the little shaking, the little stuttering, the jerky leg, and then he also does something with his lip to where it's he kind of bites his lip and does something with his lip, and it looks like he's for real struggling, going through an addiction. It's just the subtle things like that Timothy does in all of his films that really escalates the performance to the next level. And then okay, before I start rambling, let me move on. So another positive was the film is very emotional. So is this really spoilers? Well, no, well, it's not really spoilers, but it might be a spoiler, quick warning. So, but I'll tell you the scene, but I'm not gonna say what happens. So, but there's a scene where Timothée Chalamet and Steve Carell, they're having a conversation over the phone, where Nick, Timothy's character, he just breaks down over the phone, and he just breaks down emotionally over the phone, and he's just pleading. And then David, which is Steve Carell's character, he realizes that at this point there's nothing that he can really do, and it's all up to Nick to fix it at this point. And the emotion of Steve Carell, and when you connect it to a situation, because I'm pretty sure that a good number of us has been through a situation to where it's like they had to hit rock bottom in order to get a reality check, or they had to let somebody they love hit rock bottom in order for them to get a reality check. And so that scene specifically, where after they hang up the phone and then both of them are just letting their emotions pour out, that's one of the scenes that kind of like pushed me over the edge to where I teared up in the theater. So now I'm gonna move on to the negatives. So the first negative pacing, I'll say take the pacing. Well, how I say pacing with a grain of salt, and I'm gonna tell you why. So I'm gonna give the pacing a pass, because I was fresh off of watching mid-90s, and mid-90s is only 80 minutes. It's only an hour and 20 minutes long, and this movie is 2 hours long. So I was fresh off of a super short movie going into a 2-hour movie. So kind of take that with a grain of salt. But me personally, I kind of feel like some parts dragged on. I feel like Beautiful Boy could have been about like 15 to 20 minutes shorter than what it is. This one is not really a negative, but Steve Carell, there's moments in this film where Steve Carell, where he raises his voice and like is at the point of yelling. And then for me personally, this might not be the case with everybody, but for me, when I heard Steve Carell raise his voice and start yelling, it kind of took me out the film, because hearing his voice yelling automatically took me back to his more comedic roles, like in The Office, 40-Year-Old Virgin, and all the other Steve Carell comedic movies. So after that, and I was like, okay, wait, this is a serious movie. This is not a comedic thing. This is not Steve Carell yelling for a comedic effect. This is him being serious. So I had to get myself drawn back into the film after that. And then lastly, it seems kind of like a little bit repetitive, because of course I understand that this is about the process of Nick's journey and becoming sober. And then I understand that you're sober, you go through the therapy, you might relapse, and after you relapse, you struggle, and then back to being sober, go back to therapy, and then you relapse again, etc. So let's kind of find that part. I understand that's a part of his story, and that's a major part of the recovery of the journey, is that you try to go clean, but you just can't, and so you're dabbling back into the drugs or the alcohol. So I understand that, but I feel like that was the case a little like too much, because I want to say like you see him relapse back into the drugs about like 3 times throughout the film, and it's like, okay, it's like we know he's trying to become a better person at this point, and he's relapsed again. So I felt like that was kind of repetitive. But yeah, that is my review of Beautiful Boy. So how I would rate this, I'm not gonna give it like a percent score, or or a 1 through a 10, or a 1 through a 5. So Beautiful Boy, I definitely recommend you go see it. If this is being independently distributed through Amazon, so you most likely got to go to an independent theater. So if you have an independent theater near you, I definitely recommend that you go see it. Bring some, definitely bring some tissues for a second, because I teared up. And then there's like people in the theater that was just flat out crying and blowing their nose and stuff like that. The film is very emotional, so if you do go see it, just bring some tissues just in case. And and the film is definitely good. It's definitely great. I definitely feel like Timothy should receive a nomination for, I think he's the supporting actor in this film, for best supporting actor. So you know what I'm saying, Timothy Chalamet does his thing. He brings gold. He brings you into a film along with Steve Carell as well. So that's my review of Beautiful Boy, man. I hope y'all found this helpful. So let me know if y'all want more movie reviews, man. Just either leave a voicemail through the Anchor app or just tweet me at Dylan_CBE, DYLAN_CBE. Thank you.